You do, man. You get used to it, man, and you learn to live with it, man. But I read this quote one time, and it was like if you know, because there were tons of times I was like, shit, and I still struggle with it, man. You know, it's like, you know, should I quit? Should I keep going? What do I
Well, yeah,
do?
because you go every day without making a dollar.
You do, man, and that's part of being an entrepreneur, man.
But then you get a big deal.
Bro, you get a huge deal, and it's like more than what most people make in a whole year. You know, it's like you just have to know that when you put positive energy, you get positive energy back. You know, I read this quote one time, man, and it was like if you quit now, you'll be in the same position that you were before you started, and you'll be wishing you were where you are today. And man, it just kind of stuck with me, man. And it's like, look, like if I were to quit, if I were to stop, if I were to give in and go back to work, you know, it'd be like starting from square one, man. I mean,
so you're like, I love it. You're from fucking McGee, Mississippi.
Oh, dude.
Fucking one of 11.
Yeah.
Graduating class. One of 11 to college, to dropping out of college, to a mechanic, to military, to creating a fucking ATM empire. You know what I mean? Like, that is
experience, man.
That's fucking epic, man. That's so great. Like, I love it. I love that you were able to build something like that. You know what I mean? Because, like, dude, that takes fucking balls. Number one, like,
it's scary as hell.
Military takes balls too. like joining the military, man. Like I like that's what we talked about. Like I almost joined in, and I think the reason that I didn't, not because I was scared to join the military, but because I was scared, like
sacrifice,
like
man.
if I joined the military. I don't know if that makes any sense. I wasn't scared of the military. I was scared if.
Well, I'm gonna be honest with you, bro. Just 100% with you, man. Like I think you would be where you are today, but I don't think you would be where you are today at your age.
Yeah.
Because when you're in the military, dude, that's all you can do. That you can't even go get a second job, even if you can't pay your bills. You can't go get a second job without a proof. That you can't do shit. You know?
Well, I get it, and like I said, like, I don't have any regrets or like wanting to do that. Like to this, I'm not gonna lie right now. If they had like a whole basic training thing that I could like still come home every day, but like go to basic training, come home, go to for 8, I'd do it.
Well, just join the military, dude. Go through basic training.
I don't want to leave my family for 8 weeks.
Nah, you have to do that.
That's what I'm saying. Like if I could come home every day,
we're gonna
learn that.
Let's go do like a Tough Mudder or something.
That'd be fun. That'd be fun. But you know what I mean, though, to learn that, like to learn and feel that aspect, just because I love challenging myself over and over. But to me, that's awesome. You went the route, and dude, you're still so young. I mean, don't get me wrong. I call you old as shit all the time. Yeah, but you're still young, man. You're still young, and you're still building. And so you built this ATM empire, and you're sitting here. You're like, I've got all of these ATMs. How many machines did you have?
I think when we kind of decided to move forward with it, I think we had just shy of 150.
Okay.
Yep.
They had 150 ATMs.
Yeah.
And if you're keeping the contracts, they're making you good money.
Yeah.
I know. I've been in it long enough. I know that you got to be making decent money off each contract.
Absolutely.
Because there's no point in that. It costs you money to have an ATM somewhere. So if it's not making you any money, then, well, you're going to move that ATM.
Well, and you know, I did that actually several times. When we first got started in the business, I bet me and my wife moved probably 20 ATMs, 20, maybe 30 ATMs, man. And it's all because, like, it's a learning curve, man. And I don't regret it, man. Like, you know, you put an ATM in a business and you learn what locations do well, what locations don't, man. So it's like, you know, should you invest your money? Should I go buy a $2,500 ATM to make $50 a month? You know, It just doesn't work. And you learn what locations work, what locations don't, man. You know, and it all also depends on if you're loading them or you have somebody else loading them. You know, if I'm making $200 a month and I'm loading it myself all day, but if I got to pay somebody else on top of profit sharing, it's not worth it.
Uh-huh. So I got 2 questions regarding the ATM business. What was your biggest mistake in the ATM business? We'll start with that. What was your biggest mistake in the ATM business?
I would say overpaying for referrals. So
wasn't something you did?
No. Well, yeah. I mean, I would say it was more something I didn't scout the locations like I should, right? So I had several guys that worked for me kind of as referrals, and they would bring me locations, and I would be like, yeah, this is a location. Like I'm going to buy it. I'm going to put an ATM in there. I don't care what type of location it is. Meanwhile, I got my wife over here. It's like, hey, look, that's not going to do good. We don't need to do that. And I would do it anyway.
I totally understand that because when I was first starting doing the ATM business, I was like, I want to buy every fucking ATM in the fucking world because you're gung ho and you're like, fuck it, I want to get every
ATM. I want to get
ATM.
this fucking side contract. I don't care if it makes me no money. It's just the thrill.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I would take, like, for instance, there was this guy that used to work for me, kind of on the side, and he was a radio talk show host. Spent a lot of faith in this motherfucker, right? Still friends with this guy, still a good dude. But I paid him a lot of money for no reason. You know what I mean? So, like, I would pay him for these contracts, and then I would listen to what he was saying. Like, there's gonna be some good, traffic in here. It's gonna be a good location. Then I pay him $500, $600, $700, $800 for a contract, and in 3 months it's maybe $200.
Not a good location.
So I would say my biggest mistake would be not properly scouting the locations. Before I just moved on me. You know what I mean?
Okay. What was your greatest thing that you did in the ATM business? Like what? I'm not gonna say it took you to the next level, but like what made you stand out? Because not many people can do what you did. 150 machines. It's a lot of fucking machines for one person, and not even 2 years in.
Yeah.
100, just from your perspective, what allowed you to get there and do that in such a short period of time?
Hands down, networking, man. Every single ATM that I installed, I would take a picture of it and post it. You've seen a lot of the photos. They're not
so you just put yourself out there.
Yeah,
you made yourself vulnerable.
Yeah, bro. I would put myself out there even if I knew it wasn't going to be that good a location. I have people, 20, 30, 40 people message me a day, like, what are you doing? What are you doing? Do you have a course? Like, what can we do to be like you? Like, how are you landing these? Do you have a script? And, my biggest thing is I never had a script, man. I always would call the business, or I would go see them in person. I would just talk to them, man. Like a normal conversation.
Love it.
Wouldn't sound like a salesman, nothing like that.
So you just try to be different. You put yourself out there and you try to be different and you network, and that's awesome.
I didn't never make the business owner think that I was trying to sell them something. I always tried to bring them a service. Try to come at them like, hey, look, like kind of like friends, man. Like we're working together, kind of deal.
So I got kind of a big question, and this is like,
here we go.
Drop the bomb, but so me and you have been kind of working together for the last few months, and like I want to know why.
That's good.
Right, isn't it? Let me get a sip for us.
I feel like I should take another sip.
Go for it. Should probably take a sip of that whiskey.
So if I know you, yeah, I probably should.
But I want to know. Now, granted, me and you, we got real close. We're good homies. We're good friends. We see eye to eye on like a lot of things, and we're like that relationship is. We can't put a price on that
for sure.
But you got me, someone that knows nothing about ATMs. All right.
You know a lot of shit about a lot of things.
That's true. I know a lot about business, and I always say this. But what made you say? I built a very large ATM business, a portfolio. Now, I am starting to learn there's a difference in business and portfolio.
100%.
I'm starting to learn that in the ATM business. But what made you say, you know what? I built a very large portfolio for myself and my family, but I want to take that, leave it almost, and then step back to work with people and have less, because you're making less of the profits. Because when you're working with people, you have this profit share. That's business rule.
Absolutely.
You're making less percent of the profits. Like, you obviously built a great business, but what made you say, okay, you know what, I'm going to step back and work with people and make less of a percent? I mean, what made you do that? Because a lot of people would be like, damn, this dude owned 150 ATMs. Why the fuck would you stop? Like, that's fucking stupid. You work for yourself. Like, in all honesty, like, I love it because of who I am and what I know about business and the world, and I understand that, but I'm also I'm a different fucking breed when it comes to thinking.
Oh, yeah, man.
So let's put this in perspective for people who can understand this. What made you do that? Because it's not a bad. I know it's not a bad decision because I know what we're working on. I know we're about to build. But in reality, it's not that smart of a decision. But it is. But you know what I mean. Like financially, money wise, money coming in each month.
Yeah.
It's not the best decision.
You know,
but long run it will be.
Anybody in business knows that you can go further with the team, quality team, than you can by yourself, right? And you know, I got to a point, man, and it was so funny. Like I met you guys right in a very, very I wouldn't say like
it's weird.
It is, man. Like it was so funny, man. You were leaving Colorado when I was going to Colorado, right? So, and you know, I don't know, man. I met you guys in a very like important part of my life, man. I got to a point where I ran out of
juice.
Yeah, man. Like I was working. We created a business. I created a job.
Yeah.
And I had some systems in place that were working for me where it kind of minimized that, but I was still working, man. And don't get me wrong, working for yourself is a hell of a lot better than working for
But you created a job for yourself.
I did, man. And, you know, I got to the point where I was like, okay, I've got to make a change, man. Like, I'm working just as many hours, if not more, than I was, you know, working a career, you know? So I was like, I've got to do something different, man. So I decided to, you know, liquidate a lot of my accounts and kind of move forward with it. I got into the processing side of things. You know, we've talked about that. And, you know, it was right around the time, man. You know, I had my buddy in Mississippi who kind of needed to move forward with some things, man, and I needed to sell some locations, and I ended up bringing them to you, man. And I told my wife when I left, I was like, I don't know how I'm going to do it, but I'm going to work with them too. And it was so damn funny, man. Like 2 days later, you called me and you wanted to buy into my company and shit, you know. So we got to talking about it, man. But I just got to the point where
why did you say that though? It's out of curiosity.
I seen the value, man. Like I clicked with you pretty almost immediately, and all of them guys.
But like, why would you want to work with me? I don't know anything about ATMs. Like,
you know, and
there's a point to this.
I still pick on you fuckers. So you know, but the networking, man, the it's not my strong suit, the social media, but it's a very vital piece. You know what I'm saying? I mean, like. I never realized the power of social media, to be honest with you, until I got deeper into the ATM business, and then I really linked up with you guys, man. And then I've seen the amount of people you can reach. I mean, how many people is it just this podcast can reach? And just this one podcast, man, it could change people's lives, you know?
Definitely.
And it's like I realized the power of social media, man. Not just networking, but the marketing yourself on social media, man, and the reaching mass amounts of people, man. And I knew you guys had that, man. You were good at it, man. I didn't know your background, man, but I knew you were, you know, on social media. You know, you had a high following, and I just vibed with it, man. And I was like, okay, you know, I was in that point in my life where I wanted to move forward. I wanted to take the business forward. I couldn't do it by myself. I could do it by myself, but not at the capacity that, you know. So
we're gonna build a timeline for people real quick. So you quit your job because of COVID.
Yeah.
A year in, well, almost a year in, you created another job for yourself.
Yeah.
And that's a huge. I want to bring that point to people, and because it's kind of funny because you left your job because you didn't want to work,
and then I ended up working.
And then you ended up working more with more stress.
Yeah. Right. I would lay down at night thinking about, like, and I'm sure you do the same shit, but like I would lay down at night thinking about, like, what can I do to get me out of that? What can I do? You know, I would lay down and I would think about, you know, my wife's on the side. You know, at the time it was just a little girl, my son was on the way, and I was like, what can I do to be better for them? And it would literally keep me up at night, you know? And I would just get thinking, like, what can I do? Like, I'm working, I'm still not home as much as I want to be, you know? what can I do to make this better? And
It's a balance. Yeah, it's a balance.
it's a balance, and it's about risk too.
Exactly. But that's the thing. That's where I want to go with this. Is that you quit your job and then you created another job for yourself. That's a hurdle to overcome.
Yes, absolutely.
Because just because you work for yourself doesn't mean you're free.
No, hell,
Working for yourself can often bring more stress than working for someone else and more work.
well, and you know that your income is based off of
What you do.
what you do.
Hmm?
You know,
So I love it because you in your entrepreneur career, you went from fuck this sucks to fucking this is great to back to fucking doing both, and then quitting your job, which is another high, and then all of a sudden, fuck, I'm working more than anything I've ever seen before in my life. To then liquidating, and now you're building something different.
whole different direction.
And now all of a sudden, we're about to close probably the biggest deal I think you've ever closed.
Absolutely,
Hands down. And that's just what happens though. So I love it because it's like a slingshot. You know what I mean?
It is.
You had this fucking great momentum. You put a halt, you put a stop, and boom, you had to pull back. And all of a sudden,
You had to reset.
you had to reset, align with the right things. Boom. Time to let go. And then you know what? When we let go of that thing, because when it